Welcome back to Manufacturing Matters Jackson, the first and only television show and podcast that is dedicated to supporting and celebrating the manufacturing industry of Jackson County, Michigan. My name is Keith Gillenwater, and I am the President and CEO of Accelerate Jackson County.
And I'm Olivia Steele, Executive Director of Jackson Area Manufacturers Association.
So, Olivia, this is episode number 2, and it still feels surreal to me.
I agree. I'm not sure how we went a year with just a podcast, and now we have this TV show. Like, what's next, Keith?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I guess syndication, right? Although we are kind of sort of syndicated because we're playing, we're like Seinfeld now. We're playing every day of the week, right? So there's something to be said for that. I will tell you, I have gotten such good feedback from people who had watched the show. And I'm assuming you're hearing the same thing?
Yes. Yeah, I received several emails. Hey, we really like the show and great job.
Yeah. Even my father in Indiana watched it, and without me telling him about it, right?
Well, that's cool.
He found it organically, which I thought was pretty cool. I had, as we're recording this, my board meeting for my organization was earlier this week. And one of my board members mentioned that one of her clients on the West Coast saw the show and brought it up to them because she knows them from her also involvement of having appeared on JTV in the past, and was like, "Wow, that's a really cool idea that you guys are doing. That's a neat calling card for the community." So, it's hearing things like that is, I mean, it's humbling and it's cool, right?
Well, I guess it's working, and that was our goal, right?
Absolutely.
Promoting what we do here in Jackson because we are unique, and it's a great community.
Absolutely. So, well, what is going on in the world of JAMA?
Oh, training and more training and more training. So Melissa's done a great job. We've added 7 apprentices already this year, which is
awesome.
a big number. Last year we added 45. So to be at 7 already this year, that's significant. But we're gearing up our open house with the Shop Rat Foundation for the Advanced Manufacturing Training Center is scheduled for April 16th from 2 to 4. So we're gearing up for that, trying to get organized, make sure everything's done. And then our JAMA annual dinner is May 18th. So registrations are open for that. We're accepting nominations for all of our awards. So make sure you nominate.
Absolutely. I will kind of one of those vote early, vote often sorts of things. So I will get in my nominations, and you will not be surprised to know that anybody I nominate is probably someone who has appeared on our podcast or on our TV show, or that we know we have scheduled to come up. So,
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
What's going on at Accelerate Jackson?
Oh man, this has been we've got a lot going on. This has been a transition time over the last several months. As you know, we talked about, I think last month we talked about losing a longtime employee who had, gotten a promotion and to lead another economic development organization. And so earlier this year, we hired a new person in place. And so Marcia Gaborowski comes in with 20 years of economic development experience. So getting her integrated into the community has been fun. And I will say she hit the ground running. I really wanted to hire somebody with a lot of economic development experience because from the time that she started, and it's really at this point only been about 6 weeks that she's been there, she already has 25 business retention visits done for the year. To put that in perspective, we did about 107 last year in 2025, and so our goal is more than 107, and so she's already well on her way. And so people sometimes forget economic development. Sometimes we get painted with that brush that it's all about attracting new businesses to the community, and that is a piece of what we do for sure. But our first focus always is supporting the businesses that are here, just like you, right?
Yep.
Beyond that, we've I talked the last several months on both the podcast and on the TV show about our Accelerate 2030 capital campaign. I am proud to report that we are almost closed with our campaign. We still have some outstanding asks that I have confidence in coming in, and when that does, we will be at least at 100% of our goal. And so,
Awesome.
oh my gosh, I can't tell you the load that takes off. I mean, you know how this is, right?
I do.
You just fundraise to open a new building, right?
And we're still at it.
And you're still
Yeah.
at it, right?
Yeah.
And we're nonprofits, right? So fundraising is always there.
Right.
But when you got a capital campaign to do a building or to do, a long-term campaign, like it just takes a lot of time.
It does.
And but the work doesn't stop, right? And so being able to get that kind of finished is great. Couple of other things. Our annual breakfast, as we're recording this, is next week. So we're really excited. We have a keynote speaker, an economist from the University of Michigan, coming in, and so we're super excited about that. I kind of geek out over that kind of stuff. So I mean, I love it. So.
Well, I'm going to geek out over our AI speaker for our annual dinner.
Gosh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm hearing a lot of this AI talk in the manufacturing world, and I've been trying to gear up for that for a couple of years. So I'm super excited about having them.
So do you want to maybe talk about our guests today?
Sure. We are going to have Jeff Drushal and Mandy Hertzberg from Drushal Fabricating on the show today.
Right.
I'm super excited.
Well, I'm super excited. Many of you probably know Jeff from some of his public art projects, and certainly is visible in the community. I used to see Jeff's face on a billboard, on a JAMA billboard on I-94. So right after the break, we'll be back with Jeff and Mandy from Drushal Fabricating.
And welcome back to Manufacturing Matters Jackson. Today we have Jeff Drushal and Mandy Hertzberg from Drushal Fabricating. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Yes, thanks for coming in today.
Most definitely.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about Drushal Fabricating?
Well, so we're a small job shop here in Jackson. We specialize in just about everything. The hardest question people ever ask us is what we do and what we specialize in, because we try to be very diverse in everything we do, whether it's working for a big company, making guarding, or making custom art projects, or coming up with solutions for different problems for every single part of this world. So it's like I said, we're very diverse, and basically anything metal and plastic and sometimes wood we work with.
That's awesome. So you mentioned the custom art projects. I mean, I think that's how I got exposed to your business. And then we also had done a project together through the Brownfield Authority.
Right.
And maybe can you talk a little bit about that custom art?
So to me, I've always felt all fabricators are artists. We get handed a blueprint or we get a napkin with a sketch and we have to figure it out. So the art side of our business is basically, no different than any project we do, whether it's a guard or a table base. So, we utilize that art kind of as like a brain break in a way from our normal stuff. We all like to kind of tinker with it and do it. And it's just a fun way to make our trade a little bit different and keep it interesting.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
So can you tell us a little bit about some of the products and services and industries you serve?
Some of our products, we manufacture all the components for it. There's a truck called a Vector truck. You'll see them around, like consumers use them to do like hydro excavating. You'll see them around different construction sites. We manufacture all the parts and components for those vehicles. That's kind of one of our products that is an ongoing product that we're now doing. We service 18 locations across the country. It's a job we just picked up 10 months ago or so. We service a company in Arbor that specializes in motion simulators for bus training, for bus drivers, for firefighters, for police pursuit systems. What else do we service?
We service some of the schools in our community. So Western Public Schools put in a new elementary school recently, and we did a beautiful railing and a sculpture. And then there's also another big gate that we're building for the outside of their dumpster as well.
So I guess the $1 million question is if you're making a bus simulator or a police pursuit simulator, is have you gotten to drive one yet?
So
Yeah.
just recently, yeah,
Yeah.
last year we got to fly a in-air fueling system simulator, which was pretty intense.
Oh my God.
Like we got to drive the buses.
We got to crash the buses.
Yeah, I drove one off a cliff. It was pretty interesting. They're really neat because they're very accurate. They kind of move and they got air brakes, and it's a full panoramic view when you're driving, so you actually feel like you were driving a bus.
And when
Pretty interesting.
you get out, you get really dizzy and woozy because it's totally weird.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've done some of those simulators in the past. I did a flight simulator. I actually did an air refueling simulator, and
Nice.
then and did an air refueling flight as well in
Yeah.
a previous community I was in. I crashed the helicopter I was flying.
Oh, sweet.
So what I learned is I am not a pilot, and
Yeah.
what we've learned is Jeff is not a bus driver. Apparently.
Exactly. Or not the bus driver you want.
No, well, he could be a bus driver.
Yeah.
Definitely not the bus driver that we want.
Yeah.
Definitely not for school.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
go ahead.
So I'm going to take Keith's favorite question and say, why Jackson County?
Why Jackson County? The easy question, or the easy answer would be because I was born here. I guess the more technical question is, since I was born here, I've had a lot of connections growing up, and so that kind of makes doing business a little bit easier. Helps get the connection made, and then we obviously have to perform to keep that customer. But on top of that, I love Jackson. I feel like it's a very hidden gem within the world because everybody kind of looks at us as this prison city, and it's really not. It's so much more to Jackson. It's so much more deeper. I mean, there's so many things here in this town that make this whole entire world go around. I mean, there's so much military that comes out of here, as far as like parts for the military, just so many unique things and so much history with manufacturing that I feel like we've been a staple in this world for, a long time. And, since day one, since, the revolution of manufacturing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. One of the questions I always like to ask people that we started this last year on our podcast was, what's that coolest thing that you've ever been a part of? I mean, is it an art project? Is it? I mean, I gotta say, making a bus or a flight simulator is probably right up there as how cool on the cool factor, right? But tell us maybe about some of the cool things you've really done that you just walk away from and you're like, I'm really proud of that.
Right. So, going to the bus, we don't design the bus. We just build what is already pre-designed. So that's a cool project, but it's not our project. We're doing
Okay.
it for somebody. So every project is so unique, and it's weird because you get to do so many projects, you kind of forget about some of the projects. So you drive around, and one day you look up, and there's a Production Realty sign. You're like, I totally forgot I made that sign, and it brings you back memories to doing that project. So you there's so many great projects that we've done. I can't put a staple on one. We did just complete a project, I think yesterday, that I think is my all-time favorite that I'm not allowed to discuss, but it will be revealed here soon. And it's a project that we engineered, we built. We came up with the ideas, and it was a project that I didn't even think I could make work, and we made it work, and it's been a great lesson. I call it an engineering marvel because I'm not an engineer, and this thing's got so much engineering in it, and it's been a very challenging and a lesson learning project that we did. So as of right now, that's my favorite project, but in 2 weeks I might have a new favorite
Sure.
project.
I love how those things, though, like when you take on those projects and you grow as a person, you grow as a company, right? And then you now have that skill set, you've got that knowledge so that the next project you can apply to that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's how companies scale, right? That's how companies grow. And so that's exciting. Can I ask a follow-up question on that made me think of something? And that was, you said driving around town, you see like a Production Realty sign and you're like, oh, I made that. Where else could people see some of the work that you've done? I mean, I think of the butterflies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, where else can people see stuff that Drushal has done?
Well, what do you think? I mean, there's a lot everywhere. a lot behind closed doors that you don't see.
Sure.
That's the hard part, is there's so many things you don't get to see. I mean, we've been involved in so many things.
You could go to Agma Brewing.
Oh, well,
And
I have been known to go there once or
Yeah,
twice.
yeah.
The Mug Club rack is something that we worked on.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, even like Virginia Coney Island. Well, I almost messed that one up. Virginia Coney Island. We've repaired stuff for them. I mean, we've been very grateful to have a lot of connections that we've made over the years, and so there's just so many things everywhere. Whether we repaired something for somebody, or we designed something, or made something for somebody. I mean, there's a lot of things that we've done that I almost have to drive around to remember, like I said, the stuff that we've done.
Maybe that's our. I know we'll have our video for Drushal, but maybe that's our next one. We take a driving tour around and see how David does with the camera on us driving around town and checking out the Drushal reality tour.
Right?
Yeah, sounds great to us.
David, is that okay to you?
That'll work with me.
There you go.
Like, yeah.
We can see more of their work on the inside, though, if we wanted to.
There you go.
That's right.
Well, I mean, I think we got to start at Agma then, right?
Yeah. They might have to start at noon then. We have a strict policy at work: no drinking until noon.
Well,
Totally
I
joking.
mean, I can appreciate that.
Yeah,
didn't
that's
get
where
the
our
memo on
creativity
that
kicks
one.
in.
Mandy, I want to go back and ask maybe what your favorite project has been since working with Jeff.
Does it have to be a project or like?
No, whatever you want to talk about. What's your favorite thing?
One of the best things that I've seen lately is when we do activities with the youth in the community, and we get to expose them to welding and metalworking, and seeing people kind of understand all of the cool stuff that's involved with it, and getting kids involved, and getting them excited about maybe pursuing a career in something that they wouldn't have thought to before. I think that's been one of the most enriching parts of working for the shop lately.
That's awesome.
Well, I think we have a video. We took a tour of the facility, and I think you're going to tell us what we're looking at, and then when we come back from the video, we'll probably have a couple of follow-up questions for you.
Perfect.
Thanks.
My name is Jeff Drushal from Drushal Fabricating. We've been in business since 2016, and we service anywhere from residential to commercial to industrial products. We specialize in anything custom and unique. We also do reverse engineering and product development. This is our little machining area. Jeff here is machining some parts for a custom awning that we're building. Jeff is a Career Center co-op student that we picked up about 7 years ago, and he's still with us. We do just kind of small little machining. We're not a machine shop, but we do enough to get us what we need. This is our 1/4 inch by 10-foot shear. Basically, if we're not going to laser cut it or plasma cut it, if we just need a quick piece of sheet metal, we can shear it up. This is Rusty. He's been with us for 3 years now. This is our Mazak laser cutter. We cut a 4x8 sheet up to 1/2 inch thick steel. We utilize our laser for cutting nice quality parts, minimize our deburr time, and all around just a nice, better, more accurate part. We also have a CNC plasma cutter. This is Mandy. She's been with us since day one, and her sister that has now recently joined us full time. Right now we have a lot going on, so we're running both machines. Plasma cutter will cut thicker, so that's why we use it as well. It's our 133-ton press brake. We can bend 1/4 inch steel, 10 foot long. These are parts that angle iron parts that we're cutting for a rack that we're building. We make basically like machine guarding kits for a local customer, and that's what basically all these parts are. We have a vast variety of tooling that we can do all sorts of different complex bends. These are some display panels that we're making for Harvest Solar, so they can display They're posters at trade shows. So we took some tubing, cut it up. Now we're just putting some nice finishing edges on there, so it's a nice quality product. Basically represent how their product has nice, beautiful quality. He's breaking all the edge down, so there's no sharp corners and everything's blended in very well. And looks like it was never welded. It looks like more of a form part. This is one of our more high-end, meticulous products. It's a bus simulator for a company out of Ann Arbor. We build buses, fire trucks, other like police pursuit simulators. This whole bus is on an actuator, so it moves while you drive. It gets a full panoramic screen around the whole thing, so when you're driving, you get a 360-degree view. Everything's been fabricated and powder-coated in-house. So this is our steel processing room. We do a bunch of different saw cutting, do miter cutting. Colin here is cleaning up some parts that we are making on that. One of our favorite machines is this machine right here. It's a CNC tube plasma cutter. So now we basically run our parts through that, cuts the holes, cuts the miters, puts copes on it. We engrave the parts, label the parts so we know what they go to. And after we go through all those processes through the whole shop, almost everything ends up in this room, which is our finishing room, where we do all of our powder coating. We have a 6x6 by 12 foot batch oven, so we can do a bunch of different colors at one time. We can do single parts, make it affordable for the customers, so they don't have to get charged for a whole entire lot fee. They can bring one part in to us and we can powder coat it at a reasonable price. So every time we get an order, we make extras. We're slowly building up our inventory so we can reduce our lead times. So when they put an order in, if they call us and say, hey, we need one part right away, we have it ready to go and we can ship it out as soon as possible.
Jeff, you mentioned in the video that you partner with the Career Center to get youth interested in welding. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and then maybe also how JAMA has helped on your workforce development throughout the years as well?
Okay. So Career Center, it's a great program. I went there. I went through the welding program there and did co-op, and so we try to take advantage of that as well, and we get employees out of there. We've had some great luck. We've never had a bad experience, thank God. And it's a great opportunity, I think, for somebody to come in and work like one day a week if they wanted to, see if they really wanted to do this. Like I said, we've always kind of plucked what we could out of there. So as far as the JAMA, just recently, we last year I think it was, we got a grant and utilize that to take a bunch of classes through JAMA. Gail Brocky, which is his birthday today, I think he was 39 today. He came to our facility and held classes. He taught welding 1, 2, and 3 to a majority of our staff. So now every one of our employees has their welding certificate, which was a nice, great thing to have. And in the past, we've worked with JAMA on hosting them at our facility when they needed more class time. We've tried to, give them materials and as we can and help out with like the new building. We've did things at a discounted rate or even just kind of did things for them to help out with the new building. I think it's always been a great partnership. I mean, I've known you through JAMA for how many years now? 18 years, probably 15 years. And it's just been JAMA's been such a great thing to the community and a great thing to our business. It's been great working with them. So,
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, that's awesome. I loved the video, right? I love watching that. I mean, obviously, I've been out to your facility. It's not the first facility you've been in, right? You've
Correct.
been in other facilities. Where did you start, and where are you at now?
So, when I first started my business, the last thing I focused on was finding a building, because you drive around Jackson, you see empty buildings everywhere. And I couldn't even find, so it got down to D-Day where I was supposed to start, and I could not find a building. And one day I drove by Tucker Boyer's shop, Boyer's Tool and Die, and he had a for rent sign that was like really dusty in the window. So I called him and he's like, it's not really for rent. It's where I have stuff. I was like, okay, I'm just looking for a small space to start this welding business. And, so he's like, you know what? I believe in you. I'll do it. I'll find a new place for all my stuff. So we started in, I think it was like 800 square feet, really tiny building that Tucker let us rent. We outgrew that. I mean, Mandy started with me a month after I opened, and we outgrew that in 3 months.
Yeah.
And so then we found this place on Francis Street, and we ended up moving there 8 months after we opened. So we went from 800 square feet to 3,200 square feet. And then we outgrew that pretty fast. And then we then went from there to on High Street, the old Hydraulic Systems Incorporated building, which was then we rented, I think it was like 12,000 square feet. And then we outgrew that. And then it just happened we found this building for sale one day. I was chatting with Ben Lataki, and I told him I'd be looking for a building. So he set me up on, I got emails, and this building came up, and I sent it to him. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about this building, but we can go check it out. And it was almost 17,000 square feet, and I walked in and was like, this is perfect. And so we made it happen, and so now that's our final home as of right now until we outgrow that building, which we already did.
Right.
So,
I was going to say, I think because when I first came out to your building, what you had purchased, you were not using the entirety of the space, and then 6 months later, I came back out,
Yeah.
and you were in another building as well.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, I even was going to rent part of the place out, and that didn't last at all.
so I have one last question, and something calling back to the video you had early on in the video. You had mentioned one of the things that you do is reverse engineer projects,
Right.
and so that's intriguing to me. So can you maybe dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, so going back to the Vactor trucks that we make the parts for, so that one in particular, so they have all these parts that are on the vehicle that they need reproduced. So they would bring it to us, and then we go through and we basically measure it all up, draw it on SolidWorks. We make a prototype, get the prototype approved, and once we get it all figured out, as long as it works correctly, then it's good to go. Or like any parts, so you can bring it apart from an old tractor from 1920, and we'll go through and measure it all out and figure out how it's made and basically reproduce every part of it. So I mean, it sounds simple, but it can be very complex at the same time. So
Awesome. Olivia, any final questions?
No?
All right. Well, thank you very much. This has been a great conversation, and I would say if you want to find out more about Drushal Fabricating, you can follow us on our podcast where we will do a deeper dive into this conversation, Manufacturing Matters Jackson, which you can find on all of your podcast apps as well as on YouTube. So stick around and we will continue this conversation. Thanks.